Today begins a 4-part series dedicated to exercising. In part 1, we're going to discuss why we should exercise, how it improves our physical and emotional health, and what to do in the pre-workout phase. In part 2, we'll discuss the workout phase, how much to exercise, should you change up your routine, should you exercise when you're sick, and where to get help with your exercise routine options. In part 3, we'll answer what is caffeine, where does it come from, how does it affect the body, is it okay to use caffeine with exercise, and what are caffeine alternatives? We wrap up this series with part 4, which discusses the post-workout. How long to cool down, what to do, what do I eat after I'm done, how much do I drink, what stretches to do after working out, should I take supplements, how to handle muscle soreness, and how to stay motivated to get up and do it again. Exercise is an activity requiring physical effort, carried out to sustain or improve health and fitness. The key words here are physical effort. Get moving, because when you move, things in your body move. Things like blood, lymph, and neurotransmitters like serotonin that regulate your mood. And that's a good thing. You feel more alive, your body wakes up, your mind wakes up. It's a stress reliever, and in today's world, I think we could all use some of that. But start slow, as in do a warm-up. 5 to 10 minutes of light exercise. It's like warming up your car. Let the juices begin to flow all throughout before you put it in drive. No need to make up for lost time. Ease into it. The less injuries, the more likely you are to stick with it and make it a lifestyle. Keep it simple, and remember the key here is to get moving. Welcome everyone to Podcast 13. I'm your host, Nikki Sterner, and I'm here today with Dr. Kell. We're going to be discussing exercise. Remember, always consult a qualified healthcare professional before starting an exercise program. Today, I wanted to start with an inspirational quote. The pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity. The optimist sees opportunity in every difficulty. Now that's by Winston Churchill. That's one of your favorite quotes?
It's a good one, yeah. It's one I really like.
You like that? All right. So with exercise, can you see the opportunity and the difficulty?
I can. Can you? That's what we're going to talk about today. Part of what we're talking about today is helping people see the opportunity in the difficulty.
I like that. I'm curious. I really am. Now, before we begin discussing exercise, can you tell us why are you as a chiropractor qualified to talk about exercise?
Well, a lot of people don't understand chiropractors. Roughly 15% of the population goes to a chiropractor. A lot of people think, oh, they're just back and neck guys, and you got neck pain, back pain, you go see a chiropractor. But really, we go through the same education that an MD does with regard to all the basic sciences, all the diagnosis and information that you name it, and we'll put it in our notes as well, and maybe talk about it on another program as to the detailed education of a chiropractor. But as a doctor of chiropractic, we learn everything from how the body, have virtually a year of gross anatomy. So we do all the dissecting and the anatomy, the physiology, the biochemistry, the microbiology. We go through it all. But then, instead of focusing on medications and how drugs affect the body or substances that science has created affect the body, we study how to help the body heal itself. And so we have education in nutrition, and often after graduation, we can continuing education goes on, and like I've done a lot of sports rehab seminars, courses, as well as many other things related to nutrition, acupuncture. Have worked a lot with athletes over the years, have worked with professional football players, have worked with college wrestlers, and done rehab with them, as well as helping them to resolve their injuries.
Yeah, when one of our earlier podcasts, you talked about how that was actually what got you interested in chiropractic, was that you had been with the trainers in the middle school, right?
Yep.
You went and helped people to recover their injuries. So you deal with a lot of people that have sports injuries here in the office.
Well, people come to me for a variety of things, everything from injuries, from auto accidents to sports injuries, to nutrition, to also a licensed hypnotherapist. So people come to me with their emotional issues or overcoming their, for instance, we talked about running with Gina. Sometimes, your problems there are emotional. You can't get over that little plateau beyond it because there's something in your brain that's just not allowing you to take that next step. And so through hypnosis, you can find benefit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. So what if I'm afraid to get out and exercise? I mean, why should I push myself to exercise at this point? What if I've been sitting on the couch for the last 10 years and why should I exercise?
Well, the first word is health, right? It's been proven time and time again that health is improved through exercise. Physical health, emotional health, both of those are big ones. And just to talk a little bit about, too, how does it affect your health? Well, let's start from top to bottom. What does it do for your brain? You have, as you exercise, you release serotonin, which makes you feel better. Endorphins are released, which are your body's natural pain relievers. And a myriad of other substances that your body creates are released into the system to improve the function of your cells, everything from your nerves, your blood vessels, lymphatic system, nervous system. Everything benefits from exercise because you're moving everything around, right? All the stuff starts moving in your body. All those nutrients need to get to the cells, and the cells, if you're a real stagnant person, your cells are stagnant. They need to function. It's hard for people to understand that you have millions of cells in your body, and they're all individual living entities, and they take in substances, nutrients, and they produce waste, and all that occurs because of the circulation in your system from the blood. There's actually circulation in the nerves, and all those are improved through exercise.
So I was thinking like exercise, if I were to go out and run or walk or something, it almost just like takes my mind away from all of the stress.
Big emotional benefit, right?
Yeah, what is that going on?
And that's the serotonin levels.
That's the serotonin that you're talking about?
And it just improves your overall sense of well-being. If we continue to look down physically, one of the biggest single things that research has shown is exercises reduces your chance of getting cancer. And
really?
If you understand what causes cancer, it's a mutation of these cells. And that mutation can occur because the cells are blocked. They're not getting rid of their waste properly. They're not taking in their nutrients properly. They can also be infected by viruses and bacteria, which can cause them to mutate as well. Many cells in our body, like your skin's a good example, is renewing itself. Time and time again, there's 7 layers of skin. Your blood, every 90 days, you have new blood in your body created in your bones. And as that occurs, that process of recycling of cells dying off and new cells forming occurs, that's where the mutations occur. So exercise keeps the cells healthy.
Okay, so when I do my exercises, like right now I'm doing a stretching routine that's about 25 to 30 minutes. And when I get up, I feel like everything is pumped up a little bit. So what's going on with my muscles and all of that?
Fluid transition. The cells are opening up. They're taking in fluid. They're taking in nutrients because the blood's circulating and going to every part of your body. Your heart's pumping faster. It's pumping it through quicker. So it's actually that whole process of expelling waste and taking in nutrients speeds up. And you also get in your muscles through adrenaline that is released from your adrenal glands. It preps the muscles, gets those cells. I mean, a lot of people don't understand that a muscle, like the biceps muscle, all the cells, there's tons of cells in there that are all functioning individually, but they all work together. And so as that occurs, they fill with fluid and take in nutrients, and the fluid coming in and out that's how the nutrients come and go. And so that's why your muscles do take in more fluid and do appear more swollen after a workout. And it also depends on the workout. We should also delineate between two forms of what I call exercise, and that's physical activity. And then official exercise is actually taking your body to the next level. For instance, walking to the mailbox would be physical activity. I kind of look at walking, unless you're briskly walking, as a form of physical activity. It's really, it's good for you. You get up, you're moving and moving around. So, yeah.
Yeah. I count that as exercise.
Yes, and that's okay. You can, and you should if you're not a very active person. So you can think about it in the Department of Health and Human Services put on whatever credibility level you want to put on them. Where these days our trust in our government and our government agencies has somewhat declined of late, but nonetheless they do a lot of good, and they say that one should at least exercise 25 minutes a day, at least in the form of physical activity, and preferably more moderate exercise. But it depends on the person, It really is significant as to what level you're at, and where you start and where you begin.
So when we exercise, when I finish, I feel like better about myself for some reason. I feel like, oh my gosh, I accomplished something. Even if it's like, even just stretching or walking or whatever, I just feel better about myself. So is there something tied into like emotional health and like depression? And I mean, right now with COVID, everybody's been at home. There's a lot of depression and just anxiety and fear. And do you feel like exercise helps that?
Yes, exercise helps you focus on the positive. Like our initial statement there, seeing where we read that again there, would you?
Oh, the pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity, and the optimist sees opportunity in every difficulty.
Yeah, well, exercise helps you see opportunity in every difficulty. Because you get out and you start moving, and your heart starts pumping, your lungs start filling with air, and it doesn't always feel great while you're doing it, especially if you're pushing yourself.
That's true.
But in the end, like you say, after you're done, that's why I always recommend you do your exercise in the morning. It's okay to do it in the afternoon, the evening. In fact, mild exercise, very mild exercise before bed can help you sleep better. But the whole process is just that. You need to recognize that it isn't easy, but it's worth it.
Does exercise help with like thought processing and dementia?
Yes. Oh, big one. Research shows that consistent exercise can slow down the progressive nature of dementia, Alzheimer's disease, and all the cognitive functions are improved through exercise.
You think about
it because the blood is getting to the brain. All this, like I mentioned before, it's not just going to the muscles, it's going to the brain, and it's taking nutrients to the brain cells and taking away the brain cells produce waste too.
Yeah, just keep moving, because the more you sit, the more stagnant everything gets, right? And things don't move around your body as well.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So let's get into a little bit more of the pre-workout now, if that's okay.
Sure.
Can we talk about what to do for a warm-up for like a beginner? Let's talk about the person who's been on the couch for 20 years and they just want to start, but how do they start their warm-up? You can't just go running.
Well, I really need to mention, too, what kind of a person are you as far as physically? Are you thin? Are you overweight, significantly overweight, mildly overweight? All those things one needs to take into account, because typically, even if you're somewhat sedentary, but you're reasonably fit in the sense that you're not overweight, some people just naturally don't gain weight. They can eat all they want and they never gain a pound. Those are the people most of us don't like. Right?
Yeah, right.
Because I've never been that way. But
Me either.
Interestingly enough, too, research shows that the person who is thin and they can eat all they want, their system tends to run inefficiently, because the one who carries a little bit of a tire around their waist, which is shown in research not to be that healthy, but it's the body's able to function on less, and so it stores what it doesn't need. And whereas someone whose body's metabolism is running very high all the time, they tend to need to eat more food and they don't store as much. So just know that little extra weight may help you if you get lost in the desert, live a little longer than the other guy. But
Sweet.
Thank you. Back to the
warm-up.
Back to the warm-up part of it. If you're really heavy, if you haven't exercised in a long time, just walking back and forth to the mailbox, taking a walk around the block, start out short distances, do what you can. I mean, I've met people that they sit and talk for a while, they get winded.
That's true. Yeah.
And those kind of people just start moving around in your house. Get up, walk around more. Consider it all physical exercise. I mean, physical activity. So in that sense, just, I know people stuck in a wheelchair. Okay, move your arms, move your neck, move your head. Plenty of exercises out there for those areas. You just need to get the circulation going.
Okay, what about for the person who works out maybe once a week? What do they need to do?
Well, they're already probably doing what they need to do with regard to a pre-workout in a way, but you don't want to go straight into exercise. You want to warm up. You want to do light. I would recommend light exercise with just minimal strain on the muscles.
Is that like cycling at the gym? Like,
yeah, cycling is a great one.
It's a good one to warm up.
Cycling is a great one. Going on the stair stepper, going on the treadmill, all those things, and you don't want to, you want to go slow.
Do you do like 5 or 10 minutes? How long?
Yeah, I would say a pre-workout is 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Depends on you and your condition. Your pre-week workout for some people might be your whole workout for the day. If you're very sedentary and not in very good health.
Do you stretch before you work out?
No.
No stretching.
No,
okay.
It used to be thought that there's lots of people out there, still even a lot of high schools and junior highs, where they're having them do a bunch of stretches before the event or activity, and I always recommend warming up. They found that too much stretching before an exercise affects the muscle spindles, so snapping occurs and can cause more tearing if you stretch too much before your workout. So I always recommend, mild. If you're going to stretch, do it very mild. That can be part of your workout, but it shouldn't be forced stretching. It should more be active stretching, and that's just contracting the muscles while they're stretching.
Like walking and kicking your leg out as you go type active stretching?
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's talk about what kinds of foods to eat before.
Well, depends again on the person. If you're the person who is heavier, you're just going to do a little physical activity, it probably doesn't make a whole lot of difference. If you've gotten past that stage and you're now into your exercise routine and you're one who does mild to moderate exercise for 20, 25, 30 minutes a day, I don't recommend more than drinking water. Or some juice, although I wouldn't do anything high in carbohydrates. If you're going to juice some vegetables or things like that, that's probably good.
Okay.
But heavy amounts of carrot juice, orange juice, apple juice, those kinds of things are very high in sugar. So they really affect your insulin levels. And so I don't recommend that before your workout. You just want to drink water. If you're running, like Gina, she mentioned that it takes about 2.5 hours to burn up your fat and glycogen stores in your muscle. You also have them around your liver. So you've got that energy there. However, we should also mention someone who, let's say someone who consistently walks. Every day they go out and they walk a couple miles a day. Mm-hmm. The way their body stores fat and glycogen in the muscles is different than someone who goes out and runs 2 miles or 5 miles or 20 miles, whatever it might be, whatever their daily routine might be, or a cyclist. Stores it differently and it utilizes it differently. For instance, someone who consistently walks a lot, they may still have a hard time if they change up their routine and start running or cycling or doing something else because their body's got to get used to the new process of the way they're metabolizing everything. It just depends on you and who you are and as to how to do that. I always recommend if you're going to start a routine, we can give you the basic information, but if you don't know what you're doing, you really need to get together with an exercise coach of some kind, whether it's at the trainer at the gym or someone like Gina. You really need that.
My daughter, Kelsey, she's doing basketball at the high school. They have been training at Crunch Fitness It's not far from here, and they have a trainer that she's been meeting with, and so they take them through specific exercises for basketball that help with agility and quick feet and stuff like that. And so she's really enjoying it. It's not like a really physically demanding workout, but it's very good. You know, it's very targeted to what she needs, and she looks forward to it, and it gives her a boost of confidence. You know, she's working outside of the team to really make herself better so she can add more, and bring herself to the level that she needs to be at athletically. So, yeah, you definitely can find specific help for what you're trying to accomplish through a trainer at a gym or...
Yeah, and you mentioned the trainers focused on the basketball. Every sport really, obviously there's overlap, but every sport has its own set of exercises and routines you should do to prepare and improve your ability to perform that sport. And so finding someone who's specifically able to, you're not going to go to piano teacher to learn the guitar, right? So you want someone who knows what they're doing related to the type of activity you're wanting to perform. If it's just general, get out there, get exercising and get working out, that's pretty simple and basic. You do a general overall body routine, working muscles of the upper body and extremities and the lower body and extremities. Just simple walking and moving your upper and lower body while you're walking is giving you motion throughout your whole body. Running increases the blood flow to everywhere. We kind of talked a little bit about why to do this. I kind of want to mention a little more about the body and its function and how it benefits from just even the most basic of exercises. And someone who's a diabetic, it can help improve, especially type 2 diabetes. Type 1 should exercise as well, but type 2 finds the biggest benefit in that's it helps balance your blood sugar.
Which one's type 2? Is that the one?
Late onset, something you get later in life. Typically, the type 1 you're born with.
Okay.
And it goes back to function of the pancreas. The beta cells in the pancreas are affected. They're either not functioning, you don't have enough of them, or they stop working. And type 2 is related to them. Their function usually decreases. And so you can improve the function of the pancreas and those cells through exercise. Diet is a big part of that as well. But the lungs, improving lung function, improving your cardiovascular system, coronary artery disease, plaquing of the vessels. We've all heard about HDL and LDL, good fats, bad fats, cholesterol, triglycerides, all those things on and on. Well, exercise helps balance those things out in the system properly so everything continues to function better. Along with that exercise, you need to put in the proper nutrients, but exercise in and of itself is a huge benefit, even if you haven't been able to yet improve your diet.
I have a question. This is kind of off topic. Do you have any idea how to fix varicose veins?
Varicose veins are a tough one. Does that have anything to do
with the plaque in the
varicose
arteries?
Veins? No, that is dysfunction of the venous valves in the legs. They become weak. And so as your heart pumps, it pushes the blood through your blood vessels all through your body, arteries. First goes out of the heart into the arteries, and then it returns to your heart through the veins. And so varicose veins are part of that system, and they happen to occur in your legs specifically because the valves, the little flaps in the vessels, basically they're designed as like they're one-way valves. To where they open up as the pressure is felt to push blood towards the heart, and then they go back to stop the blood from going backwards or pooling when the heart, as it beats, it pumps. And so you have a motion there where it's pushing and then stagnant, pushing, stagnant. And so what happens to varicose veins, the blood's pooling in your legs, and then they swell up, and then you see that. Oftentimes people, the other problem that people get that is not specific to the valves, but similar problem is fluid building up in the tissues, and then you see a lot of people with that in their legs.
So how do they fix that?
Exercise is always helpful.
It does help.
Can you fix a varicose vein? Yeah, the answer is maybe. It depends on you and how bad they are, and if they're beginning stages, there's many things you can do to help improve the nutrition to your vascular system. Exercising is always good for everything. So yes, exercising. I would always recommend exercise if you're dealing with varicose veins. Does it directly help them? I think I think because you have they are a form of muscle tissue, though very tiny, they can be strengthened.
Okay, so a recap for the pre-workout. You recommend warming up 5, maybe 10 minutes with bicycling or walking, something to get your muscles moving. You don't really recommend a lot of food beforehand.
And you can do the same exercises you do in your workout. Just do it in a mild form and a slow form.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's say you're gonna go get on the treadmill and you're gonna run 10 miles on the treadmill. I always recommend for the first few minutes, go really slow in a minute. Just walk on the treadmill, go to pace, a couple miles per hour, until you speed it up, to where you're running, 7 to 10 miles an hour, depending on who you are and what you can do.
Yeah. And you said water. Just drink
water. Keep drinking water. Keep drinking water. Your electrolyte levels aren't going to be totally depleted for a couple hours as well. So unless you're already depleted. If you have a really poor diet, you may already be depleted in those things. So part of the pre-workout should also be considering what you're eating and preparing for those things. Eating the right foods, not necessarily, I'm going to exercise now, let me go eat something that's good. You should just be on a daily basis putting good nutrients into your system so that when you go to exercise, your body already has all the good stuff in it to utilize so it can send all that good stuff to the cells while you're exercising.
What if you're starving before you work out?
Like if you get up in the morning
should you eat like
you're
berries
hungry?
Or a smoothie or something?
Liquids will always be the best if you feel like you need to have something.
Okay. And then you said don't really do a bunch of stretching. You could do some active stretching, but nothing.
No, I wouldn't do any heavy stretching before a workout.
No heavy stretching.
Because you're more likely to get an injury.
You don't want that.
During the workout. Yep, especially if you're someone who does moderate to extreme exercise. To the average person, probably not going to hurt them that much. But
yes. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much.
A weightlifter. Yeah. Somebody does squats. You definitely want to do some really light weight first. And most people that are into weightlifting know this already, but maybe you walk into the gym today and look, I just got a membership, and what are those guys doing? You're looking around, seeing whatever. Okay, I'll go do that. And next thing you know, you hurt yourself because you don't really know what you're doing. That's where if you always recommend if you join a gym and you don't know what you're doing, spend a little time with the trainer.
Yeah.
And let him make sure he knows what your goals are. What are you trying to accomplish? Because he may just go give you a bunch of stuff to do, not really knowing. So you should try to focus on where you want to go and what you want to accomplish.
All right. So we talked about why we should exercise, what it does for our mental health, also what to do in the pre-workout. And in the next podcast, we're going to talk about what to actually do during the workout. So I'm looking forward to discussing that with you too, Dr. Kell.
Great. Me too.
All right. If you learned anything today, go ahead and tag a friend or a family member and pass this along. We will talk to you next week. Thanks, everybody.
While we make every effort to broadcast correct information, we are still learning. We will double-check all facts, but realize that medicine is a constantly changing science and art. One doctor may have a different way of doing things from another. We are simply presenting our views on how to live a healthy lifestyle that will be as evidence-based as possible. We welcome any comments, suggestions, or corrections of errors. We take no money from drug or device companies. By listening to this podcast, you agree not to use this podcast as medical advice to treat any medical condition in either yourself or others, including but not limited to patients that you are treating. Consult your own physician for any medical issues that you may be having. This entire disclaimer also applies to any guests or contributors to the podcast. Under no circumstances shall Dr. Kell Fullerton or any guests or any contributors to the podcast or any employees, associates, or affiliates of Dr. Kell Fullerton be responsible for damages arising from use of this podcast. This blog should not be used in any legal capacity whatsoever, including but not limited to establishing standard of care in a legal sense or as a basis of expert witness testimony. No guarantee is given regarding the accuracy of any statements or opinions made on this podcast. Our website, blog, and podcasts are all HIPAA compliant. While you may give your email address to subscribe to the website posts or to post information on the website blog, we will never share your email address or contact information with any third parties without your explicit permission. The contents of Health Talk with Dr. Kell podcast and the show notes are all copyrighted. All blog posts, podcasts, and show notes that are distributed to the public for free can be redistributed via hard copy or electronic copy for free only if Health Talk with Dr. Kell is included as the acknowledged author within the actual media that is being redistributed. The Health Talk with Dr. Kell podcast is a production of the Orange Stack, with executive producers Dr. Kell Fullerton and Eric Hammond and host Nikki Sterling.